Okay, solve. Now, when we solve, I want you to think, in most part, remember our PEMDAS, of course we do, we'll be working on them. Thinking of PEMDAS backwards. So when we solve, we're going to add and subtract first, then we're going to multiply or divide second. Not so much with the P and the E, but this part. Think of them backwards. P and E not, but think of multiplying, dividing, adding, subtracting. So, for instance, here's our first one. Y minus 6 is equal to -2. So it's an equation. It has the equal to sign. We are solving. So solving means I need to get, in this particular case, I need to get y is equal to a number. That's what I have to do. Now, I understand that you guys can probably do these in your head, some of you, which is fine, but they're going to get extremely long by the end of this class, like long. So we have to show work. And I'm always going to look for work on your work for where any quiz or test, not quiz, any test, I'm going to look for your work. I don't want to see just the answer, I want to see work. And without the work, you don't get all full credit for it. So you have to show me the work because eventually they're going to be long and you got to be able to do these problems. And the only way to do it is to show work. So how do we show work? Well, the equal sign is like your division sign. Let's put it this way. That's your two sides of the equation. I have the right side and the left side of the equation. My y is on the left side. I need to get y by itself. I need to get y by itself, meaning I need to get y equals, right? Right, how do I do that? Well, I'm gonna write it again. There's one thing in my way to getting y equals, and that's the fact that I have this -6 over here, or -6, whatever way you want to think of it. I have to move it. It has to move. I need to move this to the other side of the equation. That -6 has to move to the other side. So I want to get y by itself. So how do I do that? Well, in order to get rid of -6, I can add 6 to the opposite, to both sides of the equation. Whatever I do to one side of an equation, it's like a balance. I got to do the other side to make it equal. If I add 6, what happens? Well, -6 plus 6 is 0, right? Doesn't it go away? And then all I have left is y, which is what I wanted. I want y by itself, y equals. And now I just have to simplify the side. So -2 plus 6. Okay, so then the opposite sign. So 6 minus 2 is 4, but 6 is bigger. So my answer has to be +4. Y has to be equal to 4. So when you solve an equation, you actually do the opposite operation. If you have adding, you subtract to move it. If you have subtraction, you add to move it. If you have multiplying, you divide to move it. If you have dividing, you multiply to move it, which you'll see them in a little bit. Now, this is what's great about equations. I can check my answer, and I will know 100% if I have the right answer or not. How do I check my answer? Well, what we just did is our warm-up. I'm going to take 4, I'm going to plug it in for y, and see if it equals -2. So if I simplify 4 minus 6, 6 minus 4 is 2, 6 is a negative, that is -2, and guess what? Perfect. I know that I am correct. Both sides of my equation equal -2. So I know 100%, I got 100 on this problem. I know y was definitely 4. So you want to always check your answers by plugging in your answer in for the variable and seeing if both sides equal each other. That was a lot in one little problem. Any questions before I move on? The more you do these, the easier they get. It's basically taking whatever's with your variable and moving it to the other side. How do you move it to the other side? You do the opposite operation so that they cancel out and become 0 or 1. We'll talk about that in a minute. And then you have your answer, and then you can check the answer. Let's look at number 2. and ask. I know that you can just do these in your head. A lot of you can figure out, oh, like this one, the answer has to, that's not it. That's not my answer. That was my checking. Hold on. New equation, -3 equals x plus 8. There you go. Some of you can look at it and go, oh, the answer is this. I get it. I can too. But that's not what we're here for. We're here to show work. So this time, though, my x is on the right side. So I want to get x by itself. So I need to get rid of positive 8. Positive 8 has to go away. It has to move it to the other side. How do I move it to the other side? I'm going to do the opposite sign. I'm going to, instead of adding 8, I'm going to subtract 8. Because I will make 0 next to the x. Whatever I do to one side, I do to the other side. What happens is 8 minus 8 is 0. I am left with x. And then I can add -3 and -8. -3 and -8 is -11. So I got -11, but am I right? Well, let's see. So now I'm going to go to the right side. -11 plus 8. I took the x out and put -11 in. Hopefully I get -3. Let's see. 11 minus 8 is 3. 11 is negative. Yes, -3 is equal to -3. So I know I got 100. Okay, there's also something else I want to show you. If you've done algebra before, which I think all of you have, maybe it's been a little while. I personally don't like x on the right. I like any variable. I like it on my left. So you can rewrite this problem this way. Just by taking the equal sign and flipping the sides does not change a thing. So if you prefer the x to be on your left instead of your right, it doesn't matter really to me, whatever you prefer, but there's an option. If you like the x to always be on the left-hand side or the variable on the left-hand side, you can take that equal sign and flip the sides. It's still equal to each other. I'm just changing this where they are. I take the right side, put on the left, I put the left side on the right. They're still the same. And then you can, from then, subtract 8, and continue on your problem. It's a personal choice whether you like it. It doesn't matter where it is. Some students just really like it in the left side. That's it. All right, so let's try a new one, new page. Three, right? Three, yes. Okay. P plus 7 is equal to 8. Okay, so I want to get P by itself. I need to move plus 7. How do I move plus 7 to the other side? I'm going to the opposite sign. I'm going to subtract 7 to both sides. My 7 and -7 will cancel out because it equals 0. P is equal to 1. Then I'm going to check it. So I put 1 in for P, 1 plus 7. That happens to be 8, which had to be equal to 8. So I know I got 100. Okay, this one I want you to try. 12 equals 4 plus x. And I mean try by doing the work. I'm telling you, as soon as I start putting multiplying, combine multiplying and adding and just subtracting, you can't sort of do it in your head anymore. So try to work. What would you do? Try it out. I'll give you like a little bit, see if you get an answer, and check your answer. Got 8, perfect. And then you should check it. So 4 plus 8 is equal to 12, which is supposed to be equal to 12. So I know I have my answer. You could have rewritten it if you wanted to. 4 plus x equals 12 by just switching them around. It doesn't matter which way you like it. As the problems get harder, sometimes you might want to switch them around. Just know that at any time you can take that equal sign and you can change the sides if you prefer. All right, that was adding and subtracting. How do we solve an equation with adding and subtracting? So now we're going to put in multiplying and dividing. I'll change a page for that, new page. Okay, so we did adding and subtracting. Now we're going to do multiplying and dividing. So, what number was that? I always forget to look. 4, 5. Okay, 5. So now we're going to do multiplying and dividing. So let's say I have negative 3x equals 12. Now, remember there's like a little multiply sign between the negative 3 and the x. We don't, excuse me. I get talking too much. My throat is good. My voice is gone. Okay. We don't write the little multiply sign, but it is. So in other words, we know by looking at negative 3x that they're being multiplied. It's negative 3 times x. So how do I remove negative 3 from x? Because I need to get x by itself. Negative 3 needs to go. We need to get rid of it. It's being multiplied. So I have to divide both sides by negative 3. Now, when you divide, I want you to think fraction. Fraction is just dividing. Because it's easier to do a problem if you think divide. So divide both sides by negative 3 as a fraction. What happens is negative 3, what is negative 3 divided by negative 3? What is 5 divided by 5? What is anything divided by anything is always equal to 1, right? So these will become, these will become 1x. So negative 3 divided by negative 3 is 1. So 1x is equal to 12 divided by negative 3. Well, it has to be a negative. Negative wins when you divide. 12 divided by 3 is 4. So at the end, we're going to write x is equal to negative 4. We don't need the 1. You can leave it if you want, just knowing, as long as you know that means that you solve for x. X is equal to negative 4. And then we're going to check it. Same way, check it. Negative 3 times negative 4. What does that equal? Well, negative times negative, negative times negative is positive, and 4 times 3 is 12. And what did we want? We wanted 12, right? We wanted 12, so 12 is equal to 12. I know I just got the perfect answer. Okay, questions on the multiplying, dividing? Okay, negative 6. Negative 26 is equal to 13 what? Now, this is another one where the variable is on the right-hand side. If you want, you can switch the sides. You could rewrite it as this if you want to. Again, a personal choice, which way you like it, it doesn't really matter. But the same goal in mind, we need to get y by itself. 13 is being multiplied with y. So in order to make sure we sort of kind of quote, get rid of 13, we're going to divide both sides by 13. Because 13 divided by 13 is 1, so I'm going to cross them out because we don't have to write 1. You can write 1. 1y is equal to negative 26 divided by 13. Well, let's see, there's 2 13s and 26. Negative wins, it has to be a negative, so it has to be negative 2. So I'm going to rewrite it as y is equal to negative 2. And then we're going to check. So 13 times negative 2 equals 13 times negative 2 is negative 26. What do we want it to equal? We want it to equal -26. So I got the right answer. Any questions? Let's see a couple people raised. Well, hold on a second. Anything at all? I'm going to do some more. You get really good at these sort of kind of fun. It's like a puzzle. What is Y? What is X? What is Z? Sort of think it that way. It's sort of like a little puzzle. The ones we're doing are called one-step equations, and then our next section is what we call two-step equations, but the same kind of idea. Okay, so everybody finish writing. Okay, so here we go. 7. Okay, so let's look at one that's not multiplied with the variable. Let's look at one that's like divided. So let's say I have X over 9 is equal to 3. These are always the most trickiest ones. Because X over 9 really means X divided by 9. That's what it really means. You're just dividing it. So what's the opposite of dividing? Multiplying. So what you're going to do is you're going to multiply both sides by 9. How do you show that? Well, you're going to multiply this side by 9, and you're going to multiply this side by 9. Why? Because 9 is really over 1. Agreed? So 9 over 1 times X over 9, the 9s are going to become 1. And 9 times 3 is 27. So my answer really is X is equal to 27. So just like we did before, when we multiplied, we divided to move it to the other side. When we're dividing, we multiply to move it to the other side, to opposite operation. And if I check it, I put 27 in for X divided by 9, and 27 divided 9 is 3. And what did I want the answer to be? 3. So I know my answer is right. X divided by -3 is equal to -4. I don't know if you guys think of a fraction as a division, but I really do want you to think that way. It's just dividing. Fraction gets a bad name. Everyone gets real upset with fractions, but it's really just dividing. And when we get to the fraction section, we have a whole chapter of fractions. I really hope by the end you get much more comfortable with fractions and realize they're not really a big deal once you get real comfortable and understand what they really are. Anybody have a question? I heard someone log in. Anything?
Some people look at it as either a fraction or a division.
Right. It's both. A fraction is division. Exactly. Exactly. So that's why I want you to see this as not like X over -3, even though it's what kind of is a fraction. But I want you to think of it as what is -3? How is X and -3 being held together? By division. They're divided. So we're going to take and we're going to multiply by -3 on both sides so that we can get X by itself, because this will become 1. -4 times -3 is 12. So X is equal to 12. And then I would check it, make sure I have it right. And 12 divided by -3, well, 12 divided by -3 is -4, and we want it to be -4, so we know the answer is right. Fine. This one's for you guys. -2p is equal to 12. See if you can find p doing the work. Okay. Okay, so we have -2 times P. So I need to remove the -2 and bring it to the other side. So since it's being multiplied, I'm going to divide both sides by -2. I'm going to stop putting 1 in front. You guys can keep putting 1 if you want. P, because that becomes 1P, which is just P, is equal to -6. Now, if you need me to keep putting the 1 in front, let me know, and I'll keep putting the 1 in front. But I want to also, you start seeing without the 1 in front. And then when you check your answer, you have -2 times -6. Negative times negative is a positive. 2 times 6 is 12, which we wanted it to be 12. So we know we have it right. So if you got P equal -6, you did excellent job. Any questions on
I
that
did
one?
that in my head.
Yeah, you can do all these in your head. Here's the thing, watch this. And this is way above, we're not doing this yet. We will, not yet. Watch this. Can you do that one in your head? No. That's what we do. I'll show our work now. So you show your work now, but then you can do these problems without having to, you can't do it in your head. The ones we're doing now, you can definitely do in your head. And that's what I'm going to tell you when you hand me your work. I want to see work on them. You can't just show me the answer. You got to show me how you did it, because this is practice leading up to crazy big problems. That's the whole point. So we start small and we slowly add on, and you get better and better and better. And I can give you a crazy problem and you're like, I got it. This is what I do, right? That's the whole point. 10, and this is for you too. Again, I know you could probably, some of you could do this in your head, but show me the work. Like, do the work. What would you do on a test? What would you do next Thursday? How would you show me the work? Just do it that way.
Yeah, the other problem you had, I can't do it in my head, but the one that you just wrote down, I can do that in my head.
Yeah, most everybody can. But like I said, I can do it in my head too, but I'm going to show you the work. So just make sure you can show me the work. Don't go, okay, I can do it in my head, so I don't have to do anything. No, you got to show me the work, because we're just practicing small baby problems to get the bigger problems. That's the whole point. That's why we start small. So you actually have more confidence in it with it too, because you know the answer, most of you. If you don't know the answer, that's fine. You can find it. Okay, so 4 is being divided. The opposite dividing is to multiply. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 4. 4 divided by 4, remember it's 4 over 1. So 4 divided by 4 is just 1, which is just x. And then 12 times 4 is 48. And then you can check it. So x should be 48, unless I did something wrong. So let's check it. So 48 divided by 4. Or maybe you rather think of it as 48 divided by 4. And maybe we need to do long division to figure out, which is fine. 4 goes into 4 one time. That's 0, bring down my 8. 4 times 2 is 8. That's 8. Whoops, that's 8, 0. I know my answer is 12. 12 equals 12, and I know I have the answer. Okay, so this is the ending of one-step equations. If you notice, for all the problems, we either added and got the answer, we subtracted and got the answer, we multiplied and got the answer, or we divided and got the answer. Now we're going to do what they call, I don't know, two-step equations and then multi-step equations. So there's more than one thing we have to do. We have to do 2 things or more to find the answer. And this is what 3.2 is about. So 3.2 is expanding upon what we just did in 2.6. This is the end of 2.6. And we're going to start 3.2, which is the same concept, just bigger problems. All right, so let's call it solving with more steps. Sort of what I call multi-step problems, but we'll call solving with more steps. So it's going to take more than one thing to find an answer. And you're going to see directions like this: solve the equation, check your solution. And we won't finish this section, which is also, I think it's a really good idea anyway. We'll come back to it on Tuesday. We'll spend like maybe half, maybe a little more than half finishing the section, and then we'll spend the rest of the time going over, I guess, practicing for the tests. And I'll give you problems really similar to the ones on the test. You're going to find them much easier than ones we were doing. Okay, so solve the equation. Here we go. X plus 6 is equal to 1 minus 3. So when you have more than a one-step equation, you have to simplify first. Which means you have to combine like terms. Then you can solve. And we can start, we did last section. So I definitely noticed that X plus 6 looks fine. There's nothing I have to do on that side. It's simplified. I can't combine anything. They're not like terms. But on this side, I have 1 minus 3. Well, they're like terms. I can simplify them. So 1 minus 3 would be negative 2, because 3 minus 1 is 2. 3 is negative. It has to be negative 2. And now it looks just like the problems we just did. I need to get X by itself. I have plus 6 with it. I need to do an opposite sign to move 6 to the other side. So I'm going to subtract 6 on both sides so that I can get X by itself. And then the X, 6, not X, 6 and negative 6 will become 0 and cancel. X comes down, and I'm going to add negative 2 and negative 6, which makes negative 8. So I got X is equal to negative 8. But now we're going to check it. Now, when it's a multi-step equation, I write both sides out, but I'm going to, instead of X, I'm going to put negative 8. So negative 8 plus 6 is equal to 1 minus 3. So I take exactly the same exact original equation, except I take the variable out and put my answer in. So then we're going to solve both, we're going to simplify both sides. So negative 8 plus 6, 8 minus 6 is 2, 8 is negative, which is bigger, negative 2, and I'm going to redo this again, 1 minus 3, just in case I did it wrong. 1 minus 3, that's 3 minus 1 is 2, 3 is bigger, 2 is equal, negative 2 is equal negative 2. I know my answer of X equals negative 8 is correct. See how right now it's just one more extra step. We have to combine like terms, and then we do exactly what we just did. Which is why you learn how to combine like terms before you start solving. Any questions, anybody? Anybody hanging with me? Okay, 10 is equal to 2m minus 4m. So when you do an equation, right over here, I want you to ask yourself every time, can I simplify anything first? You always ask yourself that. Can I simplify anything first? Before you do anything, the answer is yes. I got 2 m's on the right. The 10 is fine. But I have this 2m minus 4m. They are like terms. I can combine them. So what is 2 minus 4? Well, 4 minus 2 is 2. The 4 is negative. That's bigger. So it's negative 2m. Now I can do what I did last section. I need to get m by itself. I have negative 2. How is negative 2 and m being held together? By multiplication. So what's the opposite of multiplying? I'm going to divide. I divide both sides by negative 2. And then this becomes 1, but I'm going to write m. And 10 divided by negative 2 would be negative 5. So m is equal to negative 5. At least I hope, but I got to check it, make sure I'm right. So let's check. So I write the original equation down, except wherever m is, I'm going to put negative 5 in. So 2 times negative 5 minus 4 times negative 5. And I want to make sure that the two sides are equal. So 10 stays the same. Okay, 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. Be careful with this. This is a negative 4 times a negative 2. Yeah, not 2. Negative 4 times negative 5. A negative times a negative is a positive 20. And if I simplify this side, negative 10 plus 20, hey, it's 10. I know I got it right. M had to be negative 5.
The way that I checked that, I just multiplied negative 5 by negative 2. Is that acceptable?
Multiply negative 5 by negative 2.
Negative 5 times negative 2 is
Oh,
10.
oh yeah. You're good. You're good. I know you did. Yep. Yep. You're good. You're good. You're good. I was trying to think what I heard what you said, but it wasn't clicking. Yeah, you're fine. You're fine. You're fine. Okay. B over 3 is equal to negative 9 plus 2. The line here is I got too close again. All right, so question. Can I simplify anything first? Yes. B over 3 is fine. There's nothing I can simplify here, but I can definitely simplify on the right-hand side. So negative 9 plus 2 would be negative 7. And now everything is simplified. And now I can solve for B. How do I solve for B? Well, I have a 3 that's being divided by B. So instead of the opposite of dividing is multiplying. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 3. This will become 1. So I'm not going to write 1. I'm just going to put B is equal to negative 7 times 3, negative 21. And am I right? Well, we're going to find out. I'm going to check. So I write the same exact thing, except I put B and make negative 21. So negative 21 over 3, is that equal to negative 9 plus 2? I like that. I always do this over again, because what happens if you made a mistake the first time? Your answer is going to be wrong. And when you write it down wrong, it's still wrong, right? So I check it from the very, very beginning, everything. So negative 21 divided by 3, 21 divided by 3 is 7. It has to be negative 7. And then is this side negative 7? Let's see, negative 9 plus 2. That would be negative 9 minus 2, which is 7, which is also negative 7. And I know I have that one correct too. And the biggest thing to remember is that whatever you do to one side of the equation, you gotta do the other side. So if you're multiplying something on one side, you're gonna multiply that same thing on the other side. If you're adding something to one side, you gotta add that same thing to the other side. And that's why it says equal. You wanna keep both sides equal to each other. So in order to do that, whatever you do to one side, you gotta do to the other side. Right, 4, yes, 4, okay. 4, 4, okay. Negative 6y minus 1 plus 7y is equal to 19. Okay, so the question you're gonna ask yourself every time, is there anything I can simplify first? Yes, I have those two y's. I know for sure I can combine like terms. I can put them together. So negative 6 plus 7y, 7 minus 6, that's just one y. So it's just a y. If you need to put 1, put 1. It's just one y. Y minus 1 is equal to 19. And now we have everything simplified. There's nothing else I can do, no combined like terms. So now I'm going to solve for y. I have a minus 1. I need to move it to the other side, so I get y by itself. So I'm going to do opposite, which is adding 1 to both sides because it's equal. To keep it equal, whatever I do to one side, I have to do the other side. Y is equal to 20. And let's check it. Okay, so negative 6 times 20 minus 1 plus 7 times 20 equals 19. Hopefully. Okay, so 6 times 20. So 6 times 2 is 12 plus a 0, so negative 120 minus 1 plus 7 times 2 is 14, but 7 times 20 would be 140 equals 19. Let's see what we got. Negative 120 minus 1 is negative 121 plus 140 equals 19. And 140 minus 121, I'm going to do it real quick. I'm pretty sure we're right. 19 is equal to 19. So I know I got it right. Okay, I'm going to mix it up a little bit, add something else we haven't done. So far, if you notice all the problems we did, we had to combine like terms on one side, right? But what happens, actually, I'll write this first. What happens if we have a variable on both sides of the equation? We haven't done that yet. Both sides of the equation. We've only had a variable on one side of the equation so far. We haven't done where the variable is on two sides of the equation. Okay, so let's look at what I'm talking about. 5. I'm probably gonna stop. I just saw it's 1120. 5x plus 2 is equal to 4x minus 5. And we'll stop there. That will be where I pick up. We'll pick up right here. I'll put myself a little note. And I'm going to show you how to do them. And that's the last thing of the chapter, how to do this problem, how to do these types of problems. Never done. So I'm thinking a little bit more than half of our time on Tuesday, we'll be finishing this section and talking about how to do these types of problems. And then the other section will go over and get you ready for the test and the test is Thursday. Remember for the test, to make sure that I can see your hands, I can see your paper, just like last time. It's time too, but I have a lot less problems. You should be very fine with how the time. You should have plenty of time for this one. Okay, any questions? Anything at all? I'm going to stay on if you want to sit and do some problems together. Anything you got? Ask away. I'm here. If you're fine, I'll see you on Tuesday. Practice, do your homework. And so far, you guys are doing great with your homework. So great. Love it. Awesome. I'm looking at some messages. Anybody need anything? Let me know. I'm here. I'm staying on.
Are we able to go ahead and solve this problem now, though?
Yeah, go for it. You want to do it now? I'm very happy. You want to do it now? We'll do it now. Then I wrote down, I'll do it again on Tuesday. Okay, so what you have to do, if you want to stay and see how to do this, is you have to get X on one side. So basically what you're doing is you're getting X on one side and your number on the other side, numbers on the other side. So it's sort of kind of like separate. You want to separate. You want X on one side and your numbers on the other side. I highly suggest you always do your X first. Always do the X part first. So put X on one side and get your numbers later in that order. You don't, it's not a must, but I'm telling you, as all my experience in teaching all these years I taught, that if you put your X's together first, you'll have less problems than if you put your numbers together first. All right, so what do I mean by that? Well, I'm going to move this 4x over to the 5x. I'm going to combine like terms, but by moving it over. So in order to get rid of 4x, I'm going to subtract it to make it 0. But that means I have to also subtract it to the 5x. And notice how I line it up under each other. The x's should line up under each other. And then I do like this big line, like you're going to add. We're going to add down. We're going to simplify. So 4x minus 4x, that's 0. I just moved that 4x to the other side. We're good. Now we're going to add down. So 5 or subtract down, I guess we're really adding, but 5x minus 4x is just x. I just have 1x left. Now bring the 2 down and then bring the negative 5 down. So see how we put the x over and combine the x's, and then we move the number, we're doing a number next. We're going to move the number over, right? We got the x's together on one side, and now I want to move that plus 2 to the other side. I want to get x by itself. So it's plus 2, so I'm going to subtract 2 on both sides. And now what I'm left with is x is equal to negative 5 minus 2, negative 7. And then of course, you check your answer. I'll show you that. You plug in negative 7 for your x's and prove that both sides are the same. I actually can show you that now. Let's just show that. Let's do a check here. Check. Okay, questions before I do a check? I don't go too fast. You guys all right? Yeah. Okay. So then I would do 5 times negative 7. So wherever the x is, I put negative 7 plus 2 equals 4 times negative 7. Minus 5. In order to be the right answer, both sides have to be the same number. So we'll just do a little bit at a time. So 5 times negative 7 is negative 35 plus 2. Don't do the multiplying first. 4 times negative 7 is negative 28 minus 5. And now I'm going to do that my adding and subtracting. So negative 35 plus 2, that's negative 33. And if this right side is negative 33, I got the right answer. So negative 28 minus 5, I'm going to add them, which is 33, and they're both negative, negative 33. So I know my answer was negative 7. guys want to do another one, I'll do another one. Up to you.
Yeah, we can do another one.
Okay. I'm still taping too, so anybody who's off, they can look at it later on too. All right, so let's look at that more. Let's do, whoops. 6x minus 4 is equal to negative 4x plus 6. And so, once again, we want to get the x's together and the numbers together, but always do your x's first. So I'm going to add 4x. It was a negative 4x, so I'll do the opposite, adding to both x's on both sides. Why do I do that? Because that makes a 0 on the right side for x. If I add down, I get 6 plus 4, that's 10 x's minus 4 is equal to, now the only thing left on the right side now is just 6. And now that I've done that, I have my x's on one side, I need to get my numbers on the other side. So that minus 4, I already have the 6 on the other side. I need to separate the x and the minus 4. So I'm going to add 4 to both sides to move that 4 to the other side. So negative 4 plus 4, that's 0. So when I simplify, I have 10x is equal to 6 plus 4 is 10. And the only thing I have with x now is 10, and it's being multiplied. So I want to divide 10 so that I have x by itself on both sides. So 10 divided by 10 is 1, but I'm just going to put x, and 10 divided by 10 on this side is 1. So I have x is equal to 1. But we gotta check. Okay, so let's see. I take the original equation, I'm just going to put 1 in for x. So 6 times 1 minus 4, that's the left side, equals negative 4 times 1 plus 6. That's the right side. So I'm going to do my multiplying first. So 6 times 1 is 6 minus 4 is equal to negative 4 times 1 is negative 4 plus 6. And 6 minus 4 is 2. And negative 4 plus 6 is really 6 minus 4, which is 2. And I know I have my right answer. And that's what we're going to finish up on Tuesday. Problems like that. Just takes practice.
Yeah,
Good.
well, thank you.
You're welcome, welcome. And I'll see you Tuesday. Any questions during the week, let me know. Just send out, I'll see you later. Bye. Shirley, you all right?
Yes, I'm good. I'm having to use my phone this time because my computer's still resetting, so it's
Wow.
kind of new to me. But yeah, I'm good. Thank
That
you.
stinks. You're welcome. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.